Second. Okay. So today's topic is store procedures with input parameters. Okay. Okay. Now let's imagine we'll create a simple store procedure that will select everything from this employees table. Okay.
Yeah.
So for that, we say store create proc or procedure, and then give it a name. We'll say USB employees, and then I will create the store procedure. Okay. Actually, let's say it will select the employees where employee ID equals to, let's say, 101. Okay. So basically, it will do this every time. Okay. It will select only the employees that whose IDs are 101. Okay. Now let's execute this. Now we have the store procedure, and if I execute the store procedure, okay, it will give me the employees with 101, whose ID is 101. So this will happen every time. It will only give me this employees only, okay?
Yeah.
Because inside the procedure, we defined it as filtered it with where clause and said where employee ID equals 101. So every time we execute this store procedure, it will come here and then execute this part.
Yeah.
Okay, and this script, and every time it will give you the same result, right? Because nothing is changing.
Yeah.
Okay. Now imagine, what if we wanted the employees not only with 101, but let's say whose ID is 102. Okay.
Yeah.
And now it gives the ID 102, right? But we don't have it inside the store procedure. So the store procedure still shows me 101. But even if I alter this procedure, right? Let's say I will alter this procedure, okay?
Yeah.
So that it will give me this 102. Okay? Alter procedure, this, and then now if I execute this, now it will give me the 102.
Yeah.
But this is not helpful. Like if I have to alter the store procedure every time just to change the filter, then I might as well just write this whole select statement for myself, right?
Yeah.
So there, in that case, we have something called input parameters. Now imagine if you could pass this value to the store procedure from outside. So every time when you when you want to run the store procedure, you could pass an ID, and every time whichever ID you write, it will show you the employees with that ID only.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is what we learned today. So since we have already created this store procedure, oh, you know what? I'll just drop this procedure and recreate it, so you know there is no confusions. Let me drop this store procedure. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so what I want to do now is I will create this procedure again with the name employees, but I want to be able to pass a parameter value. Okay.
Yeah.
So the store procedures, creating a store procedure with parameter is the same, just like any other store procedure. You say create procedure, and then you say the name and so on. But there's one addition. You have to also create a parameter. Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you create a parameter? You say with an add sign, let's say our parameter will be employee ID parameter, okay?
Yeah.
And then this will be an integer.
Yeah.
So this means now we can give a parameter that is an integer. And inside here, instead of specifying a specific number, you will specify the parameter name, okay? At employee ID, okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so do you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
So now what we're saying is, okay, now we have defined a parameter. So
Yeah.
this is how you create a parameter or define a parameter with add sign, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then you give the parameter's name and then data type that it should accept. So in this case, we have a parameter that's called employee ID, and it will only accept integers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And inside the store procedure, we need to define where should this parameter go. So basically what we're saying is select everything from employees where employee ID equals to this parameter, which means whatever the user passes to that parameter will come here, okay?
Yeah.
All right, you will see it in action that it will be easy. Okay, now let me create this, okay?
Yeah.
This store procedure. Okay, now I have the store procedure created. Now, when store procedure has a parameter, so this is how you execute the store procedure with parameter. You say execute USB employees, and then you pass a value to the parameter. You see, once I press the space, what it's saying is home work this store procedure has store procedure always return integer. So it has employee ID parameter. Okay. So now I can say 101. Okay. This is how you pass the parameter from outside. So you say the store procedure's name, and then you pass a parameter. So now what happens is when I execute this, it will take this parameter, right?
Yeah.
And it will put it here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now it becomes where employee select all from employees, where employee ID equals to whatever we say here, which is 101. Okay.
Yeah.
So now if I execute this, you see, it will show me the employees with number whose number is 101.
Yeah.
If I say 102, now it will show me the employees with whose ID is 100.
Oh, okay. Yeah. This is the input, yeah?
Yes. So because we are passing a value to this parameter. So what is happening is now we have the select statement, right?
Yeah.
And then if you see here, we have this parameter, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm executing this store procedure, what's happening is, like, for example, I'm saying execute this employees table, store procedure, and pass this value to this parameter. So what happens is it takes this value, since we passed it, and puts it here. You see where we have where employee ID equals to this parameter, right? So it makes, instead of this, it replaces it with whatever parameter we pass. And then it executes the statement.
Yeah.
You see?
Mm-hmm.
Do you get the logic?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is how you create a store procedure with parameters. Like, this is used like widely across like any application or anything. Like, for example, whenever you sign into any account, it will say welcome and your name, right?
Yeah.
Or it will say hi, and your name.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And there is even applications that will talk to you, like simple bots. They will talk to you.
Yeah.
So this is how they, let's say, this is how they implement those things through store procedure. You can do so many things. Like, for example, simple login form when you create a login form, right? Let's say it will just simply go and match your login ID and your password. So these two fields will have like parameters. The first field will have parameter login ID, and then the second will have the parameter where it's say your password, right?
Yeah.
And then if they match, then it will let you to the next page. If it doesn't, then it will say just wrong login or wrong password.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, you know what? We can actually create that right now. I will show you how powerful this store procedures with parameters. Okay. Now let's say let's imagine this is the let's say this is the login. The first name is the login, and then phone number is the password.
Yeah.
Okay. So if the login and password match, it should show me the information.
Yeah.
Okay. If it doesn't match, then it should say, okay, login and password don't match.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do we do that? Now let's say, so what if it matches? What it should do is it should basically select this, let's say, this row, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So first, let's select this row. Let's say select all from employees. And then now we should say where, let's say where first name equals to first parameter, say login, okay? And phone number equals to second parameter, which is the password.
Yeah.
Okay? Now we'll put this inside a store procedure. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's say create proc USB login. Okay?
Yeah.
And then now we have two parameters. First parameter is the login parameter. Yeah?
Yeah.
And this will be, since it's first name, so it will be varchar
Okay.
20. And then we have the second parameter, which is the password,
Yeah.
right? Password. And this will be, no, it is also varchar because it's a phone number, right? We're taking the phone number as the password. So since our phone numbers have this dashes, this should also be varchar. Let's say also, I guess, varchar 20. Okay? And then say as, open, close, and let's create this procedure. Okay? This be login varchar. I guess we forgot to say declare, I believe. Let's try to create this, but I think we need to also say declare. Oh no, I guess it got created. Now let's execute this login store procedure, okay? So we'll say execute login, and then we need to pass values, right? Let's log in for this Steven, okay?
Yeah.
So the username will be Steven. Since it's varchar, we have to put it in single quotes. And phone number will be this, right? So basically, this is the login, this is the password.
Yeah.
If this match, then it will return the data for me, right? You see?
Yeah.
So login match the password.
Yeah.
Okay. If I want to log in, let's say log in for some other person. Let's say if I want to log in for this Lex. Okay. And if I want to log in for Lex, and Lex password is this, and if I execute, it will return the Lex information. Basically, now it's like, imagine we logged into our email box or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Basically, what it does is when it matches, it will just redirect you to that your inbox. Now, let's say our login is incorrect. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, my login is incorrect and my password is this. If I execute this, it will not show me anything.
Yeah.
Because the login is incorrect, right?
Yeah.
Or if, say, my login is correct, but then my password is incorrect, right?
Yeah.
It will not show me anything because my login and password is incorrect, right?
Yeah.
You can modify it. This is like the simple way to show you how those login fields are created. Basically, whenever you sign up for any website or let's say email, what it does is, if you notice, like whenever you sign up on that page, you will ask for your name, your last name, and then you create your login, and then you create your password, right?
Yeah.
So when you create that, it will basically take all your information and it will store those information in one big table.
Yeah.
Okay? And then whenever you want to log in, it will ask for your login information and your password. And you basically pass your login and your password, and it will go to that table just like this, right?
Yeah.
And it would put your login here, password here, and then if it matches, then it will redirect you to another page. If it doesn't match, it will say, login failed, right? This is just a simple way to show that logic to you. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, I'm trying to show you how this is working.
Yeah.
This is the logic behind the login and password and sign in things. Okay. We could create another function in here and say if login fails, just print login failed. If it doesn't fail, and say this and so on. Okay. But we'll learn all those when we learn the functions. But for now, all you need to know is store procedures with input parameters, how to create them, and simple case when we can use them.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let's continue. So I'll do a little recap on this.
Yeah.
So this will be to create stored proc with input parameter. Okay. This is the syntax. Okay. So you say create procedure, and then just as usual, you give the name to that procedure, and then you define your parameter, and then you also define what values it accepts.
Okay.
And then after that, you define the content of your store procedure. In this case, we have the select, and then you basically put that parameter value to
almost like equal and at, yeah? Equal at.
Yes. If it starts with an at, that means it's a parameter.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So this at sign is the sign of the parameter. So basically, now what we're saying is, so you see, if you see that it's just simple. When we created the, when you create the content of the store procedure, you should already know where do you want to put that parameter that user passes.
Yeah.
For example, in this case, user will pass the parameter like this, right? Let's say 102. So when it passes, where do you want to put that in your query inside the store procedure? In this case, we want the user to pass the employee ID, right?
Yeah.
So basically, whenever user passes a value, it should come and sit here, say employee ID equals to this whatever the value. So that's why we are saying employee ID equals to, and then that's parameter's name.
Yeah.
So when we execute, what SQL does is it will just replace this parameter with the value. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So it will go, for example, it will just this parameter. Instead of that, SQL Server will put this value that the user passed, and then it will execute the statement with this value.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is the simple logic how the parameters work.
Mm-hmm.
So as I said before, this store procedures with the input parameter, and then when we learn the store procedure with the output parameter, these are very widely used things in the real world, especially in the application world. And but there is something called injection in a store procedure. Injection, what injection means is basically if you don't put your parameter, for example, if you do not parameterize or if you do not put any constraints to your parameter, hackers can basically break your system. How do they do that? So the way they do it is, if you don't set it up correctly, they can pass, for example, if they know the content of your procedure, they would pass a value that would do something else.
Yeah.
For example, instead of this, I could pass, if I didn't define this parameter, I could pass something like, say, this, and then delete some table.
Yeah.
Okay. So what would happen is it would take this parameter here, and then it would put it here. Okay.
Yeah.
What happens is this sign column means terminate the previous statement.
Yeah.
Then what would happen is it would terminate this part of the statement, and then it would execute this statement. So it would just delete a table or whatever.
Yeah.
Like this is SQL injection in simple example. Okay. So when you do parameterized store procedure, that this will prevent the SQL injection.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we have access on these parameters?
We need to look, I guess. I don't think it's on that website.
Okay.